Aren't LGBTQ just letters of the alphabet? Recently, I decided to update and revise and expand the first book I ever wrote called The Lie. When I went back to actually revise this book, I realized, wait a minute, I was using the same arguments back in the 70s and 80s when I was speaking as I'm using today. And I thought, well, this argument hasn't changed, this argument hasn't changed, this argument hasn't changed. Why is that? Well, that's very simple, because the Bible hasn't changed. So what's changed? It's the culture. Back then when I wrote this book, LGBTQ, they were just letters of the alphabet. But now they mean something very different. Now we have the worldview of the LGBTQ movement that has permeated our Western culture. And so they're not just letters of the alphabet now. So I had to deal with the cultural issues of today and add that into the book. Also realized back then the word woke, well, that meant that I woke up from sleep. But now the word woke means something very different. Of course, we have one of our politicians, Kamala Harris, saying we need to be more woke. We've got to be the most woke we can be.
You know, we have to stay woke. Like, everybody needs to be woke. And you can talk about if you're the wokest or woker, but just stay more woke than less woke.
What she means by that is tolerating all the different aspects of moral relativism in our culture. There are many church leaders who have changed their position on the Bible because of what's happened in the culture.
Did you know that the Bible actually says nothing in condemnation of queer people?
Jesus was woke.
It should be the other way around. We should be standing on God's word and then challenging the culture that has departed from the foundation of God's word. It really hit me as I was going back and revising this book, and this is the updated and revised edition. The biblical arguments should never change because those arguments always remain the same. We should be repeating them over and over and over again. People need to hear them. We forget, and we have younger generations coming up who haven't understood them before. Because of the changes in our culture, that can certainly change not the message, but how you present the message. And that's what I did here with the book, The Lie. You know, as you look back, you see how really a number of things have changed over the years. For instance, the rainbow. Back when I first wrote this book, a rainbow, well, we knew about the rainbow from the Bible. God said after the flood that the sign of the rainbow would be a sign of the covenant between him and man and the animals, that God would never again send a global flood. But now the rainbow has become synonymous with the LGBTQ movement, which is a movement pushing gender ideology and so on, gay marriage, etc. That's one of the reasons why we actually have T-shirts that say the true meaning of the rainbow. And of course, the real meaning is from God's word. The moral of all of this is, hey, culture changes, God's word doesn't. And we need to often keep our eye on the culture and change the way we say things, do things, how we communicate, to make sure we understand the cultural changes. But the message of God's word, the message of the gospel, that never changes. You know, the church has seen a catastrophic loss of attendance in recent generations, and the consequences have been devastating for society. Find out the root cause of this mass exodus in this video.